guys? This is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and for this video we are looking at the TruForce Collectibles Designer Series Mega Man X figure. This is obviously the standard version. We already reviewed the New York Comic Con version. Basically the same figure with different coloring, which is a good thing. That's a good figure, and I did miss a couple things on that one just because I didn't know they existed, so after talking to Jared a little bit, he made me aware of them. Well, one thing I didn't know, and then one thing we just didn't get to work. But we're going to go through it all again. So let's real quick do the height measurement. He stands roughly about 6.5 inches tall, which makes him about 16.5 centimeters. Definitely has some nice size to him. And he does have some die-cast parts, which is a cool thing. And they're generally, almost all of the die-cast is in the feet and legs, so he's really heavy and not going to have any trouble balancing at all, not even a little bit. Before we get into the figure, though, let's look at the accessories. First thing we can look at is the alternate face. So there's our standard face right there, and then the alternate face, as you might guess, is one where he's got his mouth open like he's shooting or something like that. And yes, it looks a little bit weird, but don't worry. When you put it in, it looks just the way it's supposed to. Don't worry about that lump on his head. Everything's good there. We have alternate hands, so he comes with the 2 fist hands, and then we also come with a style pose hand for either side. So we have 2 of those. And then we have some interchangeable parts for his back. These flaps right here will come off, and then you can put in the open flaps for his thruster vents or whatever you want to call them. And I'll have photos of all of this at the end of the video. And then lastly, for body parts anyway, we have the buster. So you have the 2 regular arms there. Then you can you can put this on either side. And so they just swap out, pull off the old ones, put on the new one. The cool thing about the buster, which I've already done, is it comes with batteries. So kudos to them for including the batteries. Too few companies do that nowadays. But anyway, it has a light inside, which you just turn it from the front once you put the battery in, snaps on or snaps into place, and you have a really nice bright red LED. I know it's hard to see right now because I have the studio lights on, which are really super bright. Even though it looks like everything's dark here, everything's super bright in real life. So it's hard to show you the light, but it's there and it's really nice. And now I can show you the blast effect for the gun, which is this. And it's hard to see right now, but the light does make it glow a little bit red, so that's pretty cool. And then if you don't want to use this just the way it is, you can use it with this, which gives it a nice little bonus effect. And if that's still not enough for you, you can take this piece off like that, and it comes with a clear piece like this, and you can key that in like that, and see if I can do this. I'm looking on the screen of the camera. Boom, did it. And then this can peg on like this, so you get the full blast effect, which looks really cool. They did a nice job with the translucent plastic. It's very vibrant while still being very translucent. The only thing that bugs me a little bit about it is how orange it is up here, and then the yellow almost even has like a slightly greenish hue to it. Looks a little bit off. When you put the LED in, it doesn't look too bad, but it does have kind of an odd color gradation going on. It's okay. It's not like a huge deal. It's just something I noticed. I think the New York Comic Con one looked a little bit better, to be completely honest, but it's still fine. It's not like it's a problem. Don't hold it like that, by the way. It falls very easily. So it goes, and just for size comparison, even though I'll have a photo at the end, it's very large. Alright, so last accessory to look at. Make sure you turn this off or you're going to kill the batteries. Also, if you're going to store your figure once you put the batteries in, take them out. You don't want to store a figure with batteries in it. They could corrode. Alright, lastly we have the display stand, which is a nice design. If you didn't see the New York one, then this is new to you. It's slightly different than similar display stands. So you get 2 of the uprights, which are for the X figure itself and for the blast effect. So that's handy. But we only need 1 to show you how they work. So they have 3 hinges on them, as you would expect. Can rotate at the bottom, and then this part can actually rotate also, but it has stops in it. So if you need to kind of balance the figure against it, you can. It's not just going to keep rotating. So that's a really cool touch. And then we have the claw at the top. And they connect on the base around the edges, which is kind of a unique idea. And they'll snap in all the way around, and you can put them in the various places that you can imagine that it would go. It's a pretty sturdy base. So that's a nice touch. All right, let's look at the figure now. So generally, it's really cool looking. You can see there's various shades of blues and grays and dark blue, and then the turquoise color. It's just really nicely done. Very nice design in the first place, and then they executed that design pretty much flawlessly. It's very well done. From a creative point, for me personally, I would have liked the blue to be a little more of like a steely blue, but that's just my personal opinion. It's not like it's a problem. It looks exactly like it's supposed to, so it's really cool. And then he does have lots of these little details around his body. You can see on the chest there, on the hands, all over the place. There's even one on the lower part of the chest, which I don't think I'll be able to show you up close because it's just so tiny. Maybe I'll be able to get a picture of it, but I don't have a macro lens with me, so I can't do that. But there's just lots of these little bits of detail all the way around. So very cool that they included all that. This is one of the biggest ones, and that's how tiny it is. So you can imagine how tiny those other ones are. Very nicely done, though. All super crisp and clean and clear. We have the gem in the head, on the ears, and in the feet. Very cool looking. So let's go through the articulation. Well, this doesn't really count as articulation, I guess, but we'll do this first just because I want to get it out of the way, because I couldn't show you this for the New York Comic Con one, just because it was stuck. These flaps can come out. Now I don't have any nails, so hopefully I can do this. I've been sculpting, so I had to clip my nails extra short. A little bit of information you didn't need. But you pull on it, and these come out, and you get these thrusters in the back here, which it's a really cool touch, and they did a nice job. I'm probably never going to use them, just from a personal standpoint, but they did a good job, and they tuck in really well. There's like a hinge on the flap, and then they slide in. So that's very nice. Okay, so now for the articulation. The head, really good range of motion. The neck can hinge forward and back. The head leans side to side. The head itself can lean forward and back. Pretty much any pose you want to put him in, you can put him in. No problem at all. Shoulder pad is hinged, so that won't get in the way of any posing. Then the shoulder itself has a really effective butterfly joint, which is sculpted to look like a gear, so that's kind of cool. Really effective. You can bring that arm all the way across there. They were probably able to do that because it's Mega Man. They can get away with the sculpt, but still, it's super effective, so who cares? That's awesome. Shoulder hinge, ball hinge goes all the way up. No problem there. We got our bicep swivel. I like the way they did that also. The way that it's kind of like a sleeve for the joint itself, so that's cool. Double jointed elbow gives him full range of motion. The elbow is a little bit thin for my liking. Just the joint itself takes up so much of the actual arm, and it's very flat looking. Not a big deal, obviously. Once you get imposed, it'll disappear, but something to note. And then the hands are on ball pegs, so you'll be able to move them around inside those kind of gauntlets. The upper torso has a really nice range of motion on that. It feels like a double ball peg. It could be a single, I suppose, but it feels like a double. Very good range side to side, forward and back. It even rotates really well, so that's awesome. The lower torso, single ball peg for sure. A little bit more limited just due to the sculpt, but it has pretty decent backward and forward motion, side to side as well, and then also more rotation there. So that's really good. For the hip, it's a standard T-jointed ball hinge, so you can bring the leg all the way forward this way, and this is one of the things I didn't know about before. You can actually pull the hip out a little bit and keep going up with that joint. It's super tight though, so be very careful. You don't want to break anything. So you can bring that leg up even farther and then push the leg back in to give yourself better range of motion, which is cool. Just again, I feel like it has a high chance of breaking, even though it's a fairly thick joint. You can see that there. It is really stiff going up and down, so just be careful with that. It does all the way. It does all the way. It does also go all the way out to the side. Since the legs are so heavy, though, it can be a problem. Mine's not super loose, but once you hit a certain sweet spot, it will weigh itself down. So just be aware of that. And then, of course, you saw the thigh swivel. The knees are a really nice design. They kind of just collapse in on themselves a little bit there. But then you keep going, and there's another joint, and then bring the leg all the way around. Super good knee articulation. Really nice engineering in there. Very pleased with that, and it looks awesome. They did a great job with that. And then lastly, we have the ankles, which It's kind of hard to describe since they're kind of complex. There's a ball peg, a ball hinge, and a regular hinge, all sort of mixed in on itself. So we have a peg up here and a hinge down where it's connected, and then another peg going into the toe. So just know, don't really worry about the technical parts of it. Just know that you'll be able to put the foot in pretty much any pose you need to be able to put it in. You can see it comes all the way out, so you won't have any trouble readjusting it however you need to. You get your ankle rocker, you can lean it forward, lean it back, whatever you need to do, you will be able to do it. No worries at all. So really, it's almost a flawless figure. If it didn't have slightly looseness, some slight looseness in the hips this way and some tightness going this way, I can't really think of anything I would complain about at all. It's just really, I guess the color of the blast effect, but those are very minor issues. So it's a very, very well done figure. Definitely recommend it 100%. They knocked it out of the park. Easily the best Mega Man figure on the market. Hands down, no questions asked. It's in stock right now at Big Bad Toy Store, so check it out at the link in the description below. And make sure you stick around for the photos here at the end, and subscribe to the channel so you can see my upcoming figure reviews, custom figures, and other good stuff. In the meantime, keep collecting.